Welcome friends, welcome to Theory Wise again. In the previous video, we have discussed Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, sonnet number 18 by William Shakespeare. Our present topic of discussion is My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun, sonnet number 130 by the same poet. In this video, I'll try to analyze the poem from every possible dimension. I hope you will like it, and if you like it, please share it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Sonnet 130 picks up the paradoxical praise of black from 127 and develops the anti-Petrarchan stance of 21 by denying to the poet's mistress the metaphorically hyperbolic attributes conventionally associated with any woman being addressed by a lover, like eyes that rival the sun, lips that are redder than coral, breasts as white as snow, hair that outshines gold, etc. It parodies other sonnets of the Elizabethan era, which were heavily into Petrarchan ideals, where the woman is continually praised and seen as beyond reproach. In this sense, Sonnet 130 is an anomaly, a unique poem that flouts the rules of convention and breaks new ground in the process. Sonnet 130 is an unusual poem because it turns the idea of female beauty on its head and offers the reader an alternative view of what it's like to love a woman despite her shortcomings. We should remember that Sonnet 130 carries within it similar themes to those traditional sonnets: female beauty, the anatomy of love, the anatomy and love, but it approaches them in a thoroughly realistic way. There is no flowery idealistic language. The mistress's imperfections are praised, and by so doing it could be argued that the speaker is being more honest. True love isn't reliant on some elusive notion of perfect beauty. The speaker accepts that his lover is not a paragon of beauty, but a real woman with very black hair, of white breasts and a stinking breath. There is no poetic falsity on display. The eyes of poet's mistress in no way comparable to the sun. The first line suggests that the sun was regularly associated with gold, which in turn was associated with fair. The poet's mistress had black eyes. Spenser runs the conventional gamut of his mistress's eyes in Amorety. The brightness of a mistress's eye, brighter than the sun itself, is a commonplace love poet's hyperbole, one even remembered by Pope in the Rape of the Lock. The second line focuses on the mistress's lips and informs the reader that they are not that red, not as red as coral, the marine corals. Again, the perfect color for the perfect female. These two lines, there is no natural pause for the reader, and the iambic beat is dominant. In lines 3 and 4, the anatomy of the mistress is further explored in unorthodox fashion. In Shakespeare's time, the ideal woman was white, slender, blonde-haired, red-lipped, bright-eyed, and had silky smooth white skin. Not so the woman of sonnet number 130. Her breasts are a dull grey-brown color, dune, not snow white, and she has dark hair that stands out like wares. If hairs be thought of as wares, as they regularly were by Elizabethan poets, usually, however, as golden wares, hence there is an implied contrast with black wares. On the other hand, the extremely common hair-wear image may owe something to the frame of wares used to support or control the more extravagant hairstyles adopted by the fashionable ladies at this time. The reader must note the comma in both lines, a parallel, so the reader has to pause, breaking the rhythm, telling us that this is no ordinary poetic journey. So far, the first quatrain is all about the appearance of the mistress, what she isn't like. The second quatrain takes the reader a little deeper, and in the paired lines 5 and 6 the notion that this mistress is not your ideal female model is reinforced. She doesn't have rosy cheeks, even if the speaker has seen plenty of natural damask roses in the garden. I have seen roses damasked, red and white, is possibly the hue of the damask rose, a mingling of red and white. It can also be a reference to the softness of silk damask cloth. Interestingly, it creates a contrast to the cheeks of the youth which are damasked. Roses damasked red and white is possibly an allusion to the rose known as the York and Lancaster variety or Lancaster variety, which the House of Tudor adopted as its symbol after the War of Roses. The York and Lancaster rose is red and white streaked, symbolic of the union of the red rose of Lancaster and the white rose of the York. Shakespeare mentions the rose often in his plays, like Twelfth Night. She never told her love, but let concealment, like a worm in the bud, feed on her damask cheek. Or the taming of the shrew, such war of white and red within her cheeks. The word reeks, meaning exhaled or emitted. It should be noted, however, that although the strongly pejorative sense of reek meaning to emit an unwholesome or disagreeable vapour or fume, hence to smell strongly and unpleasantly, to stink. This is unrecorded before 1679 or 1710. The various forms of the word had much earlier frequently carried unpleasant connotations of smoke, sweat, marsh, vapour, blood, etc. If the classic lovely and fragrant English rose is absent, at least this mistress has no pretence to a sweet-smelling breed. Her breed reeks, which may mean stinks or may mean rises. Some say that in Shakespeare's time the word reeks meant to emanate or rise, like smoke. Others claim it did mean smell or stink. Certainly, in the context of the previous line, some perfume, the latter meaning seems more likely. Sonnet 130 becomes more abstract as it progresses. The third quatrain introduces the reader to the mistress's voice and walk, and offers up no extraordinary claims. She speaks and walks normally. She hasn't a musical voice. She uses her feet to get around. This is nitty-gritty reality Shakespeare is selling the reader. No airs and graces from his mistress. Goddess go implies goddess walk. Shakespeare may have been thinking of Aeneas's encounter with Venus. As Rollins notes, Shakespeare describes how a goddess goes in Venus and Adonis. The grass stoops not, she treads on it so light. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. That is, his mistress is a real down-to-earth woman, not the sort of idealized fiction imagined by other love poets. In the couplet, then the speaker shows his full intent, which is to insist that love does not need these conceits in order to be real, and women do not need to look like flowers on the or the sun in order to be beautiful. Not only is the speaker being blatantly honest in his sonnet, he is being critical of other poets who put forward false claims about woman. He is not prepared to do that, preferring instead to enhance his mistress's beauty, deepen his love for her. In being brutally open, candid, and unconventional, the speaker has ironically given his mistress a heightened beauty, simply because he doesn't dote on her outward appearance. The speaker announces that he loves her, independent from the ideals of beauty men had. In this line one finds the height of his comparison in nature and meaning, the heaven. His love is higher than anything he was comparing her with previously. For the speaker she is much worth, and he loves her more than anybody who belied her with false compare. This last line is an attack on men who think a woman is only an object to look on, not a person to look into. The value of a woman is dependent on the thing you compare her with. Even if the mistress does not accord with the typical comparisons men used in the Shakespeare's times, she still can be beautiful in his eyes, either because of her pretty visual nature, which he just needs to compare with different precious things, or because of her wonderful inner values, which one cannot see immediately but have to find out. So, we have come to the conclusion. That's all. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, share, and like my video. Subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thank you.